Happening right now, there are growing questions about what a post-pandemic world might look like for both vaccinated and unvaccinated Americans. Here to help answer these questions is employment attorney Domenic Romano. Thank you so much for coming on. We appreciate it. We're also joined by our panelists today. We have Andrea Kaye, GOP strategist and host of the Andrea Kaye Show. We have Scott Walker, former governor of Wisconsin. Good to see everyone here. Domenic, I want to start with you on this because this is such a great area for so many Americans out there. I'm going to read these tweets from New York Governor Andrew Cuomo. We'll start with that state, posted yesterday evening. Says this: the best way to have a great summer, get vaccinated. There are real benefits to getting vaccinated besides protecting your health. You will be able to do all things you love. Hashtag vaccinated NY. And he had another one that he also sent out, and it says this: congrats to the New York Knicks and Brooklyn Nets on making the playoffs. At playoff games, at least 50% of seating will be for vaccinated people. In unvaccinated section, masks and social distancing will be required. Teams can decide how much of the stadium will be vaccinated section. Every governor has played by their own rules during the pandemic. You think of California, Florida, just to contrast. And we understand that. But is it legal to essentially shun unvaccinated people, Domenic? Where does this go? Where does this lead?
Yeah, I'm not sure they're being shunned. I think governments are taking reasonable precautions, and New York is not the only place. I understand the Seattle Mariners are taking similar measures in their stadium. But look, the state and businesses have an interest in trying to keep people safe based on the information that we now have available. Based on the situation as we understand it, this is probably a safe way to go, and I doubt that anyone's going to bring a successful discrimination suit under the circumstances if they've been asked to sit in an unvaxxed section.
Well, that's the thing. When I use the term shunned, what I mean is if you put this is segregation, by the way. So if you segregate people, by definition, if you segregate unvaccinated, you put them up in a section here, you got vaccinated here. You don't think all the vaccinated people are going to be looking at the unvaccinated and thinking, gross, look at these people, they're a threat? I mean, that is something that's going to happen. That could happen.
The people who pay more typically sit in the nice boxes up top or sit very close to the field. So there already is separation. This is a separation, though, not based on social class or economic standing or how much you paid, but based on perceived understandings, our best knowledge of what is safe and what might not be safe.
Right. It's based on health at this point. That's the other question, is how far do HIPAA laws go on this? And you go to employers. Can employers enforce their employees? Are they in danger of losing their jobs if they don't want to get vaccinated, Domenic?
Well, that's a great question. That's a little different, though, because the EEOC has come up with guidelines. You can't discriminate people because of medical conditions or disabilities or religious beliefs. So you could be not getting vaccinated for any of those reasons. So the employment situation is a little different. But a sports fan, as a sports team, have a reasonable interest, or a restaurant have a reasonable interest in keeping its customers safe by asking those that have not been vaccinated to socially distance. It's not an unreasonable ask, bottom line.
All right, Domenic Romano, we appreciate your time. Let me go to the panelists just to react here. Governor Walker, I'll go straight to you, obviously. You've ran a state, you understand it. Do you see, again, just the everyday troubles that would create based on what Governor Cuomo is saying? He's putting up vaccinated sections, unvaccinated sections.
Absolutely. There's big problems. And by the way, I'm going to make it clear. I've got the shot. My wife got the shot. My kids got the shot. My mom, my brother, my family have all been vaccinated. So this is not about the shot. It's about freedom, and it's about science. It's about freedom to say, I've said for quite some time, we shouldn't have vaccination passports. We should be free to live in a free and open society. You talked in the last segment about schools. Catholic schools have been open in New York City since last fall. It's ridiculous that we don't have schools open because the science shows that kids and staff can safely be there. In this case, the science shows that if you're like me and you got the vaccination, you're safe. You're largely, even if somehow remarkably you did get it, which is very unlikely, the evidence overwhelmingly shows that the impact would be fairly minimal out there. And it also shows that those who've been vaccinated are not likely to pass it on. So if you believe in the science, go out and live your life. And if someone doesn't want to get the shot for whatever reasons, then it's their risk. It's not ours. Those of us who've been vaccinated should be overwhelmingly confident that we're feeling safe. But yet people talk about the science.
Think about what
Hold
Governor
on, wait a second, Dominic, go ahead.
So think about what he just said. You should be free to do whatever you want. So if a child has chicken pox, or if you have chicken pox, you walk into a crowded stadium, sit down and watch a ball game, scream at the top of your lungs? No. There are reasonable limits to freedom. We all know that. So let's not pretend that this is a freedom issue. This is a health issue.
We will leave it right there. I appreciate it. And again, the conversation continues because these are the conversations that are happening at the dinner tables. There are disagreements, and we understand that, but we all respect one another here on the show, and I appreciate that for doing so. Domenic Romano, thank you so much. Our panelists, stick around.